Hello, my name is Diana Dirkby, and I live with paranoid schizophrenia. You are listening to my podcast, Schizophrenia as I Live It. Last week, my book, The Overlife, A Tale of Schizophrenia by Diana Dirkby, achieved bestseller status for a Kindle book on Amazon.com and was named Best in Fiction about people with disabilities. You can see more about it on my Instagram at Diana Dirkby Writings and Twitter account at Diana Dirkby. This is a milestone for the book. The book is available on Kindle Unlimited, which offers free access to those with an account. The Kindle version is a steal for those without an account at only $9.99. The paperback version is also reasonably priced at $34.99 on Amazon and a discounted $29.50 on my website at overliveschizophrenia.com. It's processed there through Ingram Spark. The Audible audiobook costs $19.95. However, the Audible app offers a free trial so you can enjoy it for free. Even if you have the Kindle or paperback version, the audiobook is a unique experience. The narrator, Wendy Moman, brings the book to life with her deep understanding of it. She is Australian and narrates with an Australian accent, adding a touch of authenticity to the setting. Whether you multitask or prefer to sit back and listen, the audiobook is a great addition to your reading experience. Meanwhile, work on my forthcoming novel, 3 Kidnapped, 3 Siblings, 3 Furies, continues. The book is near publication and I'm reviewing the final draft. Although the main subject of the book is sibling abuse, one of the central characters is Isabel Morse, a classic scholar whose speciality is Greek myths and who lives with schizophrenia. Therefore, even though the book is very different from The Overlife, I intend to discuss it in this podcast since I, the author, live with schizophrenia and so does Isabel. We will devote some other episodes to the problematic topic of sibling abuse, which is relevant to this novel. Let's say a few words about the character Isabel Morse in 3 Kidnapped, 3 Siblings, 3 Furies. The book is set in Vrayboro, a fictional place in East Texas with about 5,000 inhabitants. It opens with the kidnapping of 3 teens from 3 separate families under eerie conditions. The ransom notes and amputated body parts of the teens that show up at their parents' door drive the story to horror and suspense. Isabel is 35, single, and works from home for an online university. She writes material for their classes on the classics and grades their exams. Her specialty and passion are the Greek myths, but she is interested in all beliefs. For about 5 years, she has had a firm friendship with the 55-year-old Catholic priest, Father Lewis. Her friendship with Father Lewis began when Isabel attended one of his sermons in the Catholic Church. Isabel is not religious, but word had spread about how excellent Father Lewis's sermons were, so she went to one out of curiosity. After the sermon, Father Lewis and Isabel struck up a conversation in which Isabel confided that she lived with schizophrenia. Even though her schizophrenia had been well managed for some time, with therapy and medication using gifted local doctors, she was still the victim of stigma from some of the residents of Vrayboro. She was, in fact, quite lonely. Father Lewis assured her he would be her friend even though she wasn't Catholic. He was still there if she needed to talk, and the conversation need not be about mental health. That began a friendship that lasted a lifetime. Stigma against Isabel from other characters in the book does arise, but that doesn't drive the plot. Isabel Morse and Father Lewis are the 2 characters who have the most influence on the action in the novel. Rather than write, as I did for Sarah in The Overlife, about Isabel's path from untreated schizophrenia to managed schizophrenia with the help of good doctors in Vrayboro, We take up Isabel's story when her schizophrenia symptoms are well under control. She still has to avoid stress triggering her schizophrenia and faces stigma because she lives with this brain disorder. However, there is a great deal to her life that has nothing to do with mental illness, and that features prominently in the novel. Isabel herself feels that living with schizophrenia and studying Greek myths and other belief systems has given her the ability to entertain assumptions that many people would dismiss because they don't sound like everyday reality. The problem is that, due to stigma, others often reject her good ideas. Father Lewis always takes them seriously, and this friendship with Isabel is one of the keys to unlocking the origin of the horror and suspense in the story. When Isabel and Father Lewis meet to talk about the kidnapping of the teens, Isabel impresses on Father Lewis that aspects of the kidnappings that have come to light are a horrific mystery when viewed straight on. She suggests that viewing the events in another context may be necessary to understand what is going on and thereby help to recover the kidnapped teens. She points out that the kidnapping's emerging details echo some Greek myths, so that context may be relevant. Father Lewis is initially skeptical. There are several ways to view what is transpiring in the horror in Vrebera, but he would not think that any Greek myth was relevant. As the book unfolds, a ransom note left on the parents' doorsteps reveals that the kidnappers identify themselves as the three Furies, or three Erinyes, from the Greek myths. Considering the alternate reality of the Greek myths then becomes a must, and the best person to help is Isabel Morse, who, as always, has the backing of Father Lewis despite his reservations about alternate reality. The three Furies punish wrongdoing, and it turns out that the wrongdoing is sibling abuse. But by whom? To whom? There is a message here for people engaging with someone fighting a severe mental illness like schizophrenia. As alarming as the symptoms can be for the consumer of mental health, the person living with a mental illness, and the witnesses of a mental health crisis, not everything is rubbish in the mind of a mentally ill person who is struggling. In Isabel's case, her contributions to the horror of Vrebera could also have been made while she was undergoing a relapse of her mental illness. They are part of how she is, sick or well. I know how frustrating it can be to try to convey to others what is my mental illness and what about me and what I say has nothing to do with it. Please remember that a mental health crisis needs to be met with patience, sympathy, and room for what is not the mental illness. Thank you for listening.